Tulum, Mexico is absolutely booming right now for digital nomads, mainly due to the new airport that was recently built, as well as the high-speed rail that lets you get from Tulum to Playa del Carmen, Cancun, and all over Quintana Roo and the Riviera Maya. This has actually brought in a flood of new rentals and digital nomads. But while some things are crazy affordable, others are surprisingly not. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a full breakdown of what it costs to live in Tulum for 1 month as a digital nomad. We've been living in Tulum for 1 month now, and we've been keeping track of all of our costs while we've been here, just to get a bit of an idea of whether or not it is as cheap as we thought it was going to be before we came. So this video is really for anyone who's a remote worker looking to live somewhere as a digital nomad, whether that's a single or a couple or even a family. We're actually here with our 1-year-old daughter. So just remember guys, this is a typical month for us. If we were to stay here in Tulum, this is exactly how much we would keep on spending. So the first one's the obvious one, and that is going to be rent. Rent is surprisingly affordable here in Tulum. It's actually one of the more affordable things. There's a few different areas you can stay in Tulum, and that includes Centro or downtown, which is the most practical. It's closest to everything. You can walk everywhere. Then there's La Veleta or Region 15, which is basically just new condominiums and constructions going on. The other area, which is probably our preferred area where we're staying, is called Aldea Zama. It's where most of the more polished, a little bit pricier condominiums and villas are. It's a really nice area that's kind of set in the jungle, and it's only just a little bit back from downtown. And then lastly, you've got the beach zone. This is the premium area for obvious reasons. It's right on the beach. There's great restaurants, there's great shopping, there's nightlife, there's pretty much everything you want there, but expect to pay a lot more in that area. So our apartment here in Tulum is a 2-bedroom apartment, which we booked for 1 month on Airbnb, which cost us around about $1,450 US. Now keep in mind that was booked on Airbnb, which is notoriously more expensive than if you were to book anything privately. If you were looking on Facebook Marketplace, which we did have a look at, you can get similar places for much cheaper, especially if you're going to book long term. And we could have booked something quite a lot cheaper than what we're staying in, but for what we wanted, which is walkability, close to all of the amenities, very close to downtown, but not actually in the middle of downtown, so it's not too noisy, we decided we wanted to pay a little bit extra. So if you're going to be booking something privately on like Facebook Marketplace, just make sure you ask about the power bill, and I would honestly be asking to see the most recent either 1 or 3 month power bill, just so you get a really good idea of what you're going to be paying, because you may think you're getting a really good deal on an apartment or a villa, but the power bill is going to be through the roof. And then drinking water. Even this Airbnb doesn't actually come with filtered water, so we have to supply our own. Next up, and probably most importantly, is the health costs in living here. So if you're going to visit a doctor's clinic in Tulum, you can expect to pay a private GP around 300 to 800 Mexican pesos, which isn't too bad, really. It's not expensive at all. If you're going to see a specialist though, expect to pay upwards of maybe 1,000 Mexican pesos. And that's for things like lab tests and just extra stuff on top of going to see a GP. So for our travel insurance, which includes health cover costs, we actually use Safety Wing Nomad Insurance Essential Plan. It costs us $57 US each per month, and we actually get our daughter included onto one of our plans absolutely for free, which is amazing. So for the 3 of us to be covered for 1 month, it's $114 US. And the reason we use the Safety Wing Nomad Essential is because it's basically built for travelers and remote workers just like us. It works country to country and month to month. So if we go here from Mexico to say Vietnam and then Indonesia, we can use the same plan. We don't have to change anything and we can still use it for up to 1 month when we're in our home country. We've had to use Safety Wing Nomad insurance in 4 different countries. And of course, we used it in Thailand when we had the complete coverage, which covered all of Mandy's pregnancy costs as well as the delivery of our baby, which was absolutely incredible. If you want to check out Safety Wing Nomad Insurance, we'll leave the link down below in the description and the pinned comment. This is an affiliate link, so it's no additional cost to you, but it does help us out and helps the channel out. And we want to thank Safety Wing for supporting us over the last 4 years. Next up is food and groceries, which have been surprisingly really good and also very affordable. So if you're going to be going to supermarkets, you're going to be going to places like Walmart, Chedraui or Super Aki for staples, drinks, bread, eggs, meat, everything like that that you need to cook at home. As an example, like eggs for a basket of 30 cost around 90 Mexican pesos. A 5-liter bottle of water is just 30 pesos. Local beer for a 6-pack, you can get it for under 100 pesos, which is absolutely incredible. And then of course, eating out. So we tend to cook most of our breakfasts and probably lunch here at home, but we like to go out for dinner because it gets us out of the house, and also you can get a really good local meal for very affordable. So as an example, if you're going to be eating at a very local restaurant, you can expect to get something like 3 tacos or a burrito or quesadillas for under 100 pesos. If you want to go a little bit of a level up, you're probably looking at about 200 pesos for like a mid-tier restaurant for a main meal. And then if you're going to like the hotel zone or the beach area, you're probably looking more like 300 to 400, maybe even 500 pesos for a decent meal. Of course, there's street tacos, which you can get for like 20, 30 pesos. So just for a monthly ballpark of food costs for 2 adults and a toddler, we're probably looking at about 12 to 20,000 pesos for the month, which is like between 600 and $1,000 US. So transport, believe it or not, is actually probably the most expensive part about living in Tulum, which was kind of a surprise. Bikes are probably the cheapest way to get around. Taxis are relatively pricey. Not even relatively pricey. Taxis are just really expensive. If you're going for a 10 to 15 minute drive, they're gonna try and charge you probably 600 pesos, and you usually can get them down to around 400, maybe 300. If you're getting a taxi from downtown to the beach area, once you get to the beach or hotel zone, there's not much room for negotiation because they kind of know that you're stuck there. There's no way for you to get back. The other options are scooters, which is actually probably the best way to get around here, and then ATVs are really popular as well. Or there's collectivos, which are actually really good for longer drives. So just to give you an idea, like a short trip in a taxi, it should cost about 100 Mexican pesos. That's for like a really small trip. If you're going to the beach area from downtown, as I mentioned, it could be anywhere between 300 to 600 pesos. Renting a bike for the day should be between 150 to 200 pesos per day. Should get a discount if you're renting it for the whole month. Then scooters, they're actually not that cheap. It's about 500 pesos per day at the minimum, which works out to be like maybe 10,000 pesos. If you're gonna rent it for a whole month, you could get a deal. A collectivo is very cheap, between 30 and 40 Mexican pesos, depending on how far you go. And then there's the ADO bus. If you're going somewhere like Playa del Carmen or Cancun from Tulum, it's really reasonable. It's probably only about 100 pesos. So if you're a digital nomad, chances are you're into fitness, you're into yoga. For gyms, pretty reasonably priced. The one we go to is amazing. It's a really good gym, and it costs us 800 pesos for the month. A yoga drop-in class you can typically get for around 200 to 300 pesos, which isn't too bad. I feel like yoga is one of those things that's just the same price anywhere in the world. If you go to Bali, Thailand, Mexico, even Canada, like everywhere it's about like $15 to $20 for a drop-in. Next, household, laundry, and just kid stuff. This is for the people who are parents and have kids with them. So our laundry, we did it for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and I was pretty pleasantly surprised with how much it cost. I think we washed pretty much everything we had in our suitcases, and it came to less than 500 pesos, and it was ready the next morning. Cleaning for the apartment, so if you want to get a cleaner to come around, it's also pretty reasonable. We paid 500 pesos for a cleaner to come and do a full like deep clean of this apartment, and it only took about 2 hours. And then there's the fun stuff, so the activities. This is all just the add-ons. Like this isn't a necessity. This is like if you want to go and do some fun activities with the family or with friends or whatever. So everything here does seem to have an entry fee, and it's usually quite expensive. Like we went to the cenotes the other day, and I think we had to pay 400 pesos each, and then we had to pay extra to bring our cameras in, which was, it's standard. We've been to a bunch of cenotes, it's always the case. If you want to go to a beach club, generally a day pass in the hotel zone is anywhere from 600 to 1500 pesos per person. It usually includes drinks and food, but sometimes it doesn't. Even if you want to go to one of the most popular beaches here, which is called Paraíso, you have to pay 400 pesos just to enter the beach. So there are other beaches that are free to go to, but unfortunately they're not as nice. They've got a lot of sargassum, which is supposedly this time of year, but we've been here different times a year and it seems to always be around. There's not a lot of free activities here. Some of the things you can do for free though, I guess, is the public beaches. You've got sunset bike rides, which is really cool. And then you can save money by doing things on weekdays, because there's a lot of local tourism, people that come from other places in Mexico that come for the weekend. So that's when prices are generally jacked up. Also, look out for ATM fees. We use a Wires Travel Money Card, which I've mentioned in other videos. That saves us a ton in ATM fees, and make sure you're using the ATMs from the big banks, not just the random ATMs that you see in all the tourist areas. So keeping all that in mind, our actual monthly budget for spending 1 month here in Tulum as a digital nomad family, if we're looking at the lean end, so if we're saving a little bit of money on things like activities and going out, drinking, food, restaurants, we're looking at about $2,700 US in total. If we're living a little bit more comfortably and we add everything up, then it's about $3,800 US in total for 1 month. And that includes absolutely everything. I'm talking gym, yoga, phones, health insurance, food, going out, going to the cenotes, going to the ruins, like everything, $3,800. So some tips to save money if you do come here for long term would be pick your location wisely. Make sure you're staying in a location that means you don't have to spend as much money on transport. That's exactly what we did. Negotiate long stay rates with villas or apartments before you come. So you generally should be able to get a discount if you're staying for a long time. And make sure you have travel insurance with Safety Wing, because although it may be inexpensive to go to see a general practitioner or to get a prescription or for whatever minimal thing you need, if you need to go to the hospital here, and we've heard stories actually from people who have done it, they will, as soon as you walk in and they see that you're a tourist, they're going to charge you an absolute shitload. So make sure you're insured. So that's it, guys. Let us know what you think down below. Do you think this is expensive to stay in a place like Tulum, Mexico? Or is it cheaper than what you thought? Drop any questions you have down below. If you want to know anything about neighborhoods or family life, what it's like living in Tulum, is it safe? Drop a comment down below and we'll do our best to get back to you as soon as possible. If you found this video helpful at all, make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.